When it got dark, the bus came to a stop to let passengers get off. A person wearing green pants slowly got out of the car. That was Hyung-sik. When he got out of the car, he also started to continue moving. He lazily put his hands on his hips, his face grimacing and saying, "Hick hick," holding an envelope with money inside. He lamented that he had worked since morning until now and only had 60,000 won. One hand was slung over the shoulder of the luggage bag, the other hand was holding the wages he had earned in the past few days. He was a little disappointed and said, "Money is not easy to earn. I missed school for a few days but only earned a few tens of thousands." Hyung-sik thought with tears in his eyes. He originally wanted to donate to the Sarung hospital, but these small coins were of no use. They weren't even enough to buy meat for the children. Stepping closer to the Sarung hospital gate, he stopped. "It's hard to understand what's going on in the hospital that makes him so rude." A voice from inside came out that Hyung-sik could hear. "Wow, that's so delicious." Another child politely asked, "Can I eat more?" The response to that question was a gentle saying, "Okay, just eat as much as you'll like." Hyung-sik looked into the hospital wondering if anyone was coming. The child's voice still rang out, "Daejun is the best. When I grow up I will marry someone like him." The male lead replied, "Okay, if you want to do that, you have to eat a lot." Hyung-sik's sweat dropped in surprise when he heard the name Daejun and exclaimed in his heart, "What, Daejun, Jang Daejun?" Going inside the hospital, the scene in front of him made Hyung-sik extremely surprised. The other children who were eating saw him and happily called out his name, "Brother." Another boy turned to look at him and said, "Hyung-sik." Daejun turned around and smiled and asked, "Are you back?" Hyung-sik saw the male lead, his face turned red and he suddenly said loudly, "Daejun, what are you doing here?" The children ran towards Hyung-sik, chirping, "Come here quickly, we are eating pork belly." The male lead happily introduced himself to his parents. "This is your friend Hyung-sik," his father said. "Nice to meet you." His mother also smiled and greeted, "Hello Hyung-sik." Hyung-sik bowed his head politely and replied, "Yes, hello to you too." Daejun's parents stood next to boxes of apples stacked higher than their bodies and said, "We brought some apples here." He looked at the number of apple crates and exclaimed in shock, "Huh." Then he looked again at the food crates in front of him. Hyung-sik looked at the male lead again and called out, "Daejun." Daejun looked at Hyung-sik and calmly said, "What are you doing there? Come help me quickly, then eat some more." The boy's eyes suddenly felt like they were about to burst. He was so emotional that he whispered, "Jang Daejun, my friend for many years in high school." Then in the male protagonist's consciousness a notification rang out, "You have received karma points." Hyung-sik stood in front of Daejun, looked down and stammered, "Thank you." The next day, in the city, Daejun's voice rang out. "Isn't there a better place?" The answer to his question was the voice of a middle-aged man. "It's not that easy. Everywhere in this city is expensive, and the suburbs are too far." Affecting the children's ability to go to school, Daejun raised the question again. Wondering if there was any place like an abandoned school, the man was surprised. The school was abandoned. Suddenly he was startled and remembered a place and said, "Ah, if it was an abandoned school, there would be this place." He turned on the computer and started introducing. "That place is about 10 minutes walk from the inner city. Last year it was merged so the school was abandoned. The furniture is very well preserved. The papers are clear. You can buy it. Okay now." The man adjusted the computer screen to display the image of the land and the school's location, but the price was a bit high. He continued, "The equipment was still usable so it was quite a bargain." The male lead immediately asked, "How much did it cost?" He frowned slightly, smiled somewhat awkwardly and replied, 1,530,000,000 won. Daejun thought in his head, a place enough for about 100 people to live is already cheap. He smiled and closed, "I bought it." Then he continued, "If it's okay, sell me the mountain behind it too." The broker man was surprised, his mouth opened in shock. "Yes, buy it immediately, buy the mountain too." The male lead replied, "I want to buy it in my mother's name and donate it to the orphanage. Please ask for the paperwork." Tyson picked up the phone and dialed the number. "You spoke humorously on the phone, Director. I'm Jang Tyson," a voice came from the phone. "Huh, how are you doing, our student Tyson?" Tyson was still attentively talking on the phone. "I had an urgent matter and wanted to ask for help." The broker sitting across from him was sweating and thinking, "This guy is so young but so agile." From the phone, it was urgent. The male lead replied, "Yes, there is an abandoned school. I want to renovate it into an orphanage." Still in the tone of asking for help, the male lead said, "Money is not a problem. Just help me fix it quickly and perfectly." The middle-aged man had doubts in his heart. Kids these days aren't like this. After talking on the phone for a while, Tyson finished the last sentence to close his eyes. "Yes, it's all thanks to the director." Immediately after that, he raised his hand to turn off the phone. On the way back, the male lead walked on a busy street. He talked on the phone as he walked. The voice came from the phone, wondering if President Jian was busy with anything. He happily replied, "Well, there's a bit of that." The voice on the phone asked, "What's wrong? Are the hooligans in the neighborhood causing trouble again?" At this moment Tyson smiled slightly. The male lead raised his problem. Please help me handle a civil complaint, the person on the phone wondered. Civil complaint, what's going on? He happily smiled and replied. It's true that there's something wrong, I just want to do justice. The voice on the phone came through, so what's going on? He frowned and began to explain. I had a friend who lived in an orphanage, but that orphanage was forced to leave. And was not even given a new place to live. The mayor and prosecutor in charge of this place are quite suspicious, help me put some pressure on them. The person on the phone's voice started to feel worried and hesitated. Mayor, this time there is also a high-ranking prosecutor, do we need to count the charges? Tyson confidently continued, please defend them for free, if anyone asks. Just say that you received a complaint at the orphanage, everything else is okay. You can help them move to a new convenient place. The person on the phone replied with peace of mind, yes, I have more than enough. You said the last sentence before hanging up, I will send the detailed content in the email. Hanging up the phone, the male lead smiled with satisfaction and thought, Hung-sik will probably go to school soon, this is going well. But then he frowned and looked in the other direction, but I still had a lot of homework to do, and a battle to face. Last spring I was buried with FX profits. It's time to pay off us dollars and Canadian dollars. At night, at Tyson's place, he said loudly, okay. Sitting in front of the computer desk, the stock charts were displayed on the screen as he said. Google's stock price was close to reaching the target level. 400 million gets 3 trillion. In the future, if there is a financial crisis, Google's stock price will decrease. In this situation, there will be a lot of things to hoard. It is not necessary to hold on to Google stocks, Tyson reminded himself. It's still a happy time, early. He smiled sinisterly, his sharp eyes thinking. I will collect all the stocks of Amazon, Google, and Apple, but for now Google's stocks are still the best. Tyson took a deep breath to calm down. Okay, this is over. His eyes were now filled with determination. Next. Suddenly, the computer screen flashed with a huge light source, causing Tyson to startle and turn his head, blocking it with his hand and exclaiming, oh, what's going on? Tyson woke up in a place covered with snow, he silently cried. It's also the place of the gods, why can't he be at peace all the time? Tyson looked around, where is this? After walking for a while, he came across a river, was it a boat? Out of nowhere an old man appeared and called out. Welcoming the young man, Tyson was startled and turned around, who was he? I'm Joe. Tyson still doesn't understand what's going on, he doesn't know this person, Joe. Old Joe smiled and said, I'm about to go through the cycle, what's your name? Tyson was startled, what the hell? Even though I don't remember. I must have gone through death and reincarnation in my previous life, why, that's the river that every dead person has to cross. Tyson looked at him and cried loudly and asked, are you the god of death, don't arrest me. I've only earned 3,000 billion, old Joe smiled kindly at him, I'm not the god of death. Don't be afraid, I'm just someone whose time has come to cross the river. Tyson doubted, you are not a god so why did you call me here? Old Joe didn't answer right away, that God is a thing of the past, this no-nonsense answer makes you scared, what's wrong, you're confusing me. The old man calmly said that if he was already flying, there would be no need to cross this river, Fai Tang, that's the word used to talk about people who have become saints and ascended to heaven. Old Joe continued to say, Bang Suyen, also known as Zhang Sun Hoi, is the journey that every dead person must pass to be reincarnated. Tyson understood some parts of what he said, now you and I are connecting, it seems like that. Why did you connect with me? Tyson is extremely unhappy and suddenly points his way to death. Old Joe smiled and said, I want to thank you. Tyson was surprised, what are you thanking me for? Hello, sir, did you book the boat through Vong Suyen? I am Richard Kong, the one who will guide you to your afterlife, Old Joe replied, thank you for coming all the way here. He happily smiled at Old Joe, don't say that. Tyson was now observing him, Richard Kong, the afterlife guide, why is his outfit so strange? Richard Kong enjoyed looking at everything around, it's been a long time since I've been back to this old wharf, it feels strange, nowadays, everyone takes the speedboat and this place is just a small wharf so there's no tax. Old Joe turned his head to look at him and said, it's time for me to go. Thank you, thanks to you, the future of my descendants has changed. I will definitely repay you. Please take care of the children for me, Tyson pondered. My relatives only have 2 people named Joe, one is Lawyer Joe and the other is my friend Hyung Zayak. So these are Hyung Zayak's ancestors. Climbing the boat out into the middle of the river, Richard Kong said, that guy seems like I've seen him somewhere before. Screams rang out in the company, the director was there again. At the central bank in Canada, deposits have poured in again, the whole office was surprised, what happened today, isn't it a futures contract, who is this guy, the final approval party for delivery, the transaction between banks and individuals in Korea is the central bank. The man spoke, I have checked the number of contracts. All of which are margin from the Chicago Commodity Exchange that has gone to the island. England, Hong Kong, England and other countries, the FX margin is huge, that affected the currency market immediately. The man saw that the situation was not good and panicked. What should I do? Director, he shouted and asked again, of course to save his life. If it continues to increase, we will surely die. Unlike the future market, the population of the contracting parties is in the present. Someone suggested that you should buy it, spend your dollars, but it was not approved. It is impossible. There was a buzz in the office. Please accept $5 billion. Yes, Rich Key on my side must do the same. It can't be like that. There was a loud cry. How good is Bobillion? Change and hope. Robert voiced his approval. Very good. I don't know what my boss will do next. As soon as I mentioned it, the word boss appeared on the phone screen. Robert immediately picked up the phone and asked me how you were doing. Deason said, it's not enough to ensure that there are enough parties involved. Robert informed the situation. They are currently in the hallway waiting to see me. All thanks to the boss. Deason laughed loudly. It's not all thanks to you, Robert. It's only because of you that I feel at ease like this. I didn't do anything but thank you, boss, for your trust. Tomorrow I will announce the withdrawal of investment. Please welcome the contracting parties. Robert obeys. I will take care of it. Try your best. See you on winter break. Robert was surprised. Winter break. Deason knew he had said something wrong and immediately changed the subject. I was joking. What's wrong with politicians? Everything is still good. I'm still following my boss's instructions. Remember to pay attention to them. Yes. Don't worry, I will remember. See you in December in Hong Kong. Robert respectfully replied, yes. As soon as Robert hung up the phone, he breathed a sigh of relief. Investment announcement. Look at the data on the $20 billion screen. I didn't expect that day would continue like that. Robert looked at the computer screen and was surprised. What is this safe investment? This is completely an attack without any defense. The way he invested was like a cavalry aiming his spear at the enemy. Ignoring all his own thoughts, he sighed, the boss is always right. It's just the saints who can predict all global economic trends that dare to invest like this. Calling for the establishment of a team that is neither a global company nor a Korean company. So a legal team must be prepared, a merger and consolidation team must be prepared. A Donglong group, what is this group? Tyson said angrily, damn, why suddenly talking about winter break would reveal the fact that he's a high school student. After all, this is my last vacation, time passes so quickly. Deason leaned on the sofa and thought, college vacation is coming. A memorable moment of my student life is about to end. Tyson pinched his cheeks and said, does that look like someone with $70 billion? This is not a dream, right? But anyway, I live like this and call it simple. I have a car, an apartment, and a high school student. Tyson racked his brain and thought about whether he should spend more or not. The game has reached a new level, now it's time to go to school. Lawyer Joe said with great satisfaction, the city council failed to inspect. I have a clause in the contract that allows you to proceed. Deason heard the good news and smiled. Thank you, Lawyer Joe, you don't need to do that. I told you, you already paid me, but it's nothing. Deason looked into the distance and said, it's not thanks to Lawyer Joe that everything went so smoothly, after all he is a famous man. At first he was very speechless. But after I gave him an internal document number, he immediately bowed his head. Deason called, Lawyer Joe, if you call now, he will be scared to death. Why should I do that? Compared to a 9 deputy prosecutor like you, he's just a fly. Lawyer Joe heard that and laughed and said, he can't compare to you. Deason said, I want to invest in a law firm. Lawyer Joe was surprised, a law firm. Seeing that he was worried, Deason said, don't worry about the costs. I'll take care of everything, let's do it cleanly, can we buy shares? Lawyer Joe replied, if you have money, then there's nothing you can't do. No matter how much you need. Deason said coldly, about 30%, 30%, if it's a law firm, then yes. Lawyer Joe said in confusion, those are the CEO's shares. Why are you so interested in the law firm? Deason leaned on the railing behind the schoolyard and said, let's get to the point, Lawyer Joe. There was a startled sound on the phone. Deason said coldly, how much money is 30%? The lawyer looked carefully and replied. MANHUA is a law firm in the top 3 in Korea and the prices are not cheap. After listening, Deason just gently gave the number, so how about 100 billion? The number really made him nervous. What 100 billion, is that what you really want? He smiled and said, if you don't believe me, you have to believe the money in my account. Lawyer Joe doesn't dare to delay, so I'll proceed right away. Deason was very satisfied with such an answer, of course. After speaking, Deason immediately hung up the phone. If it was 100 billion. How could MANHUA refuse? While I was deep in thought, my phone rang again. Deason said, hello? Soon, a soft voice rang out saying, I'm you. Decent thought to himself, you. Seeing that there was no answer on the other side of the phone, the girl asked, what's wrong? Don't tell me you forgot about me. Indeed, that's the case, he asked. Who is it? Wait, this voice. The girl didn't believe he could forget her, so she said, are you dating Yaren? After hearing that, Decent suddenly called, Syrian. The girl shouted so loudly that he had to put the phone away, afraid that the scream would damage his eardrums. Ah, you're too much. How could you forget my voice like that? How could you bear it? To reduce her anger, he said, it's been more than a year since she called me. I'm sorry we haven't talked for a long time, are you okay? Looks like you're debuting next week. Syrian was surprised. How did you know? Decent smiled and said, well, there are rumors online that Fox Entertainment Company is preparing to launch a perfect girl group. Syrian didn't expect news to appear online. Oh my gosh. The rumors have spread so far. Syrian asked, who were you calling for so long? I kept calling you but couldn't get through. Oh, I was talking to my lawyer Joe. Syrian heard him say to talk to a lawyer and got worried. Lawyer, don't tell me you got into a with a thug again. I'm not that bad. Why do you say that? Now I've given up my search and started a business. Syrian was surprised. The business guy didn't go to college. I told you I wanted to study law at Korean Law University, Decent replied. I have an interview tomorrow. Syrian excitedly said, you're so cool, you'll pass, I believe you. I pour holy water every day to pray for my beloved husband. Whenever you need me, I will always be there to take care of you. Decent half seriously and half jokingly said, is it okay if I take care of you? Actually, if you go to the army, I will perform at the concert to encourage me. Hang up now, my manager will come and talk to you next time. I love you so much, don't forget that. Decent saw that the phone connection had been lost and thought, haha, this cute girl. The next day at the university, today was registration day, so everyone was chatting excitedly. I heard that even if you use a high university entrance exam score, it's very risky. Of course, because the screening is very harsh, college entrance exam scores are just the first step, interview and thesis are the two final deciding factors. There will be many people who will be disappointed. From afar a pair of black leather shoes appeared. That was Decent. He didn't expect that one day he would get an interview at a Korean law university. According to the school's rules, there will be no more recruitment next year. This is your last chance. Open your eyes wide and grasp it. Decent was extremely happy, thanking God for this life's grace. The screams focused all the students' attention, and the interviewer started inviting numbers 1 to 5. Looking at the people around him, Decent thought to himself that this was not a job interview. Everyone was dressed so seriously. The boys' praise for the girl in the distance rang out. Wow, oh. Some people gathered around because of their cries to see what was going on. She remained calm with the surrounding eyes moving forward. Decent was surprised to see a familiar face gradually appear, Senior Yaren. Yaren came over to say hello guys. Being talked to by a girl as beautiful as a flower, their faces were already red. Hello, is there anything? Do you need our help? Yaren smiled and said, I'm only going for a few days, the man next to me said. I thought I went to Salem district. Yaren replied, there's a junior of hers here for an interview. The man asked, a junior from your hometown? A pair of red high heels are walking towards Decent. Decent was extremely shocked when he saw this scene. It's been a long time since I've seen you, Decent. I was busy with my thesis so I couldn't come, please understand. Decent silently cursed. What kind of situation is this? Seeing that he didn't respond, Yaren didn't say anything more. Just looked at him and smiled. Decent said angrily, why should I understand you? Yaren was petrified by his words, huh? Then shyly said, why are you angry? Okay. After the interview, let's go have lunch. We have a lot to talk about. Decent just coldly said. I'll contact you later. Seeing his attitude like that, she didn't even bother to accept it. Okay, I'll wait in front of the school gate. Decent didn't say much but turned around and left behind a lot of gossip. What the heck, Yaren's junior, no wonder I found it strange. Decent stood in the crowd and listened to the whole story. Wake up you idiots, in a million years you won't be able to get into law school, she's so scheming. Seeing that the situation was developing as planned, Yaren was happy. Good job Yaren, the worst is over. I heard news of Jang Decent from friends, his family suddenly became wealthy. And he is a descendant of a noble family. Decent's style and qualities are not like normal men. I feel his boundless ambition. He will definitely pass. The professor's eyes are of course much better than mine. A man walking on the street suddenly saw Yaren and said hello, what are you doing here, Yaren? Yaren also smiled and replied, well, my junior was interviewing here so I came. Hearing Yaren say that, they were surprised. Juniors, they are relatives. Don't misunderstand. It's just a junior close to my house, they don't seem to believe in her reason. A junior close to home, has the tough girl Yaren fallen for him? Yaren still kept her smile and replied, she's just a junior from home, you can't deny that you really like him, right? Suddenly she asked, what are you two doing here? The two of them replied, we came to verify the rumor. Yaren was surprised, saying the rumor. They continued to talk. I heard that there was a guy here who looked like a model. The interviewers were going crazy in the group chat. Yaren said confusedly, so why am I so sure I can't lose her? Dezen finally finished the interview and went downstairs. I feel so comfortable, I might as well have a law school interview, I'm so hungry. The three examiners were bewildered. Dezen sat in the red car and said cheerfully, I've definitely parked. It's time to eat, and after speaking, he drove the car as if it were flying on the road. The whole road was very peaceful. Suddenly he remembered Yaren's words. After the interview, let's go to lunch. Dezen smiled evilly, I'm sorry I couldn't keep my promise, I changed my phone number and lost it so I don't know how to call. How can I contact you? The car sped away at an ever-increasing speed, with the stain in his heart, he said, Senior. Let's go our separate ways, this guy isn't that naive. Dezen just rushed forward, leaving Yaren standing on the side of the road exposed to the wind and dust. On a cold winter day, Tyson was not afraid of the cold but went up to the mountain and practiced shirtless. He thought, when this winter ends, this world will have to face another cold wind. Those who do not prepare in advance will have a much worse outcome than the International Monetary Fund. Everything will be wiped out, as the situation can clearly be seen, he affirmed. Today is a beautiful day, blue sky. White clouds, light shining through the balcony into Tyson's room. Tyson sat in the house, not knowing what he was focusing on, but suddenly sighed. The phone rang. Please enter your registration number. He quickly entered his registration number. The beeping sounds rang out. He nervously looked at the phone screen. Number 44, candidate Jang Tyson, Faculty of Law of Korea National University of Law. Tyson was so stressed that he held his breath while looking at the phone. You are accepted, the announcement sounded. He seemed to have regained half his soul and was overjoyed. The phone rang once. The other end of the line answered, hello, what's wrong? Tyson immediately called his mother and said, Mom, I passed. His mother asked in surprise, really? Half a tear fell from the mother's eyes because of joy. She turned to show off to her husband, oh dear. My son passed the test. The father was also very surprised and asked, is it true? Our son is so good, that's really my son. Both of them screamed with joy. My parents spent their whole lives taking care of their children, so I think I paid back a bit, he thought as he clicked on his phone. Getting into law school was just a bit of filial piety. Tyson hadn't even had time to put his headphones on the table when he suddenly saw something. A text message appeared on the screen as CEO of Nice Media. He was surprised. Oh, what is this? Suddenly, someone called Tyson, asking about him. Are you still well, writer Jang? He put his headphones back on, then happily said, I'm fine, I even got into Korean Law University, hee hee. On the other end of the line, the man happily congratulated you. Congratulations, so now you are my junior. Tyson asked about the company's affairs. Is everything okay? The other person replied, thanks to your writing talent. We are still making a fortune. You are truly a goldmine of our Nice Media, writer Jang. But I have something to tell you. I should have said it sooner, Tyson asked in surprise. What is it? The other person continued, I don't remember the name, but someone recommended a novel called Magical Warrior. I have the manuscript here. Tyson said in panic, what? He asked clearly. He said, a magic warrior. The man said nervously, it's not at all different from your novel, right? In that case, it can be considered plagiarism. How can you copy almost the entire thing and claim it as your own? The man felt indifferent. I scolded him thoroughly. Of course we will never accept plagiarized products. Tyson seemed to realize something and silently exclaimed, oh God, I forgot about him. I stole everything from him, writer Jang EJ. It seems like you've forgotten all about this. The man continued, that guy kept insisting that he had written this work last year, and even showed me the entire manuscript he had already written. Tyson sighed and said, he must have been very shocked. That's right, I thought he was like that. He disappointed me so much, the other person complained, and Tyson fell into thought, what should I do? But then he presented me with another manuscript, he said in surprise, another one. Tyson curiously asked what it was about. The other person replied that it was a novel called I Am a Noble. Hearing that, he was so shocked that he took off his headphones and thought to himself, am I a noble? It seems like the timeline is a bit mixed up. I am a noble who has led the iSky movement. You seem to have realized something. Having created a huge buzz since the ebook market, since 2008, novels about games, iSky and martial arts have begun to become popular. Even though he appeared a bit early. But after thinking about this, he seriously said, just accept it. The person on the other end of the line asked in surprise, what? But writer Zhang Hajie's writing about the other world is also very interesting. He later added that it will definitely become a hit. Why, it will be a hit, the man asked in surprise. Tyson added, yes, I have a hunch. You guys should just print 5,000 copies in the first printing. The other person was even more shocked and asked clearly, what basic, 5,000 basic copies? I will guarantee 10,000 copies for you, he said. Tyson accepted that person as an apology. Sorry Zhang Haijie. I took advantage of his enthusiasm to create the foundation for this huge amount of money. As long as I have a little bit of conscience left, everyone will have to correct their mistakes. Before hanging up, I seriously took a firm to the publishing company once again that you can just publish it, I will guarantee it. He looked out at the sky and promised himself, if I have the chance to meet you in the future, I'll invite you to eat rice cakes. Scene changed to a shopping mall called Kusiji. There were many people inside. People shopped and talked happily. Two people just arrived. That was Tyson leading his mother into the shopping mall. As soon as his mother arrived, she secretly exclaimed, it's been a long time since I've been here. Tyson saw his mother become happier and asked, it's been a long time since you came here. Right, yes, it's been 10 years since your father retired and our family had to move back to the countryside, even going to places like this, his mother said happily. Suddenly he changed the subject and asked his mother, why did she marry his father? She is both beautiful and highly educated, she could have gone to more worthy people. The mother did not hide anything and immediately told the uncle, your father said he had loved her at first sight and wanted to date her, he looked very cool so he agreed to meet a few times. His mother recalled the memories of that time and praised, your father was really a good man. All day he kept saying that if it weren't for his mother, he wouldn't be able to live. Tyson admired his sincere feelings. When my parents complain, they are so jealous of my father. Stopping at a Gusiji store, his mother asked him, why are we here? He took his mother into a store, then replied, let's go look at some stuff. Mom, they didn't forbid us from entering. Upon entering the door, the store employee bowed warmly, hello, dear customer. His mother was a bit surprised. Tyson cared about his parents and said, Mom, go buy some things for Mom and Dad, you two seem to be having a hard time lately. I want to share something. So, that's fine, your father's clothes are all out of fashion. His mother agreed. His mother looked around and saw a suit, then asked Tyson, is this a good model? It looks so good on your father. Tyson smiled as if silently agreeing with his mother. Seeing that his mother was only engrossed in taking care of his father and not taking care of himself, he immediately said, Mom, please choose clothes for your mother too. The team leader's wife has to take care of her image, right? His mother asked a little confused, so Mom choose. Even though she was choosing clothes for herself, the mother still only cared about her family. She asked, hey, it seems like you've grown taller again. Tyson didn't answer my question and said, Mom, hey, there are so many beautiful things here, please choose for me. This color is so beautiful, the mother looked at a shirt and said. Suddenly someone passing by recognized her. That person called out, oh my god, look, who is this, is it Shulren? Then the mother and child turned around to look. Mrs. Shulren recognized that person and said in surprise, Sunja. The woman happily said. What Sunja? Now my name has changed to Yoziwan, huh? Tyson heard that, many questions arose in his mind, is it Yosunja, Juzio? As if she had done something earth-shattering. Tyson gasped in surprise, Mom, could it be that Yosunja? That was the famous woman of the century. The one who stirred up Korea in 2016, Yosunja, her face seemed a bit different but her name was still the same. He secretly remembered the shocking incident that year. Tyson was so shocked that he stammered and couldn't form a complete sentence, you surprised me so much. I'm not stupid, you know her. Knowing what her son was thinking about, Mrs. Shulren gave him a judgmental look and said seriously, it's a long time ago, son. Mrs. Sunja didn't pay attention to the mother and daughter's expressions and asked about them, it's been a long time since I've seen her. When I heard that she was kicked out of the house 20 years ago, I was very shocked. She laughed and said, how could the school's queen fall into a situation like this? Tyson was shocked for the second time and wondered. Is the queen my mother? At this time, Mrs. Shulren didn't want her son to hear about her past. So she got a little angry, put her hands up and said, let's stop now. Mrs. Sunja heard that and shyly replied, it's not a good thing. That's right, what are you doing here? I heard you live in the countryside now, she asked curiously. But it seems like Mrs. Sunja is not nice, making fun of Tyson's mother, isn't it hard to work as a farmer? It seems like you don't look well off, huh? The more he talked, the angrier his mother became. Mrs. Shulren questioned, is it true that she still wanted to find trouble, while Tyson stood in a corner and exclaimed, my mother is fighting so hard. The other woman continued, apologizing. Forgetting that people are hot as ice cream, hearing this fake answer, his mother was speechless. Unable to bear the sight of his mother being bullied, Tyson had had enough of chatting and approached his mother. He put his hands in his pockets and calmly asked, Mom, who is this fat lady? The other lady got angry at him and said, what, are you calling me a fat lady? Tyson leisurely walked up to his mother and calmly asked, "Mom, who is this fat lady?" Hearing that, Sunja got angry and shouted loudly, "What, are you calling me a fat woman?" Tyson's mother shyly said, "You're my college friend, please say hello." Tyson smiled and replied, "That's it." Tyson bowed politely to greet her, "Nice to meet you, I'm Jang Tyson," making his mother a bit surprised. She mocked again, "This is your son, he's so tall and has a bright face. But she doesn't look very smart, maybe she'd be better off working as a model." She even cursed in her heart, "You dare call me a fat lady?" Tyson also humbly responded, "Yes, it was just luck that he got into university in Seoul." "Oh really, so lucky," she said. At this moment Tyson also secretly cared. "How did she look at me? Are you saying that's not smart?" She came closer and whispered to Tyson's mother, "Oh. It's true that a carp turned into a dragon. Which school in Seoul did you get into?" "My son passed the law faculty of Kyung School, haha." At this moment Tyson heard that. He didn't want to brag but chuckled inwardly. He said, "Kyung Law School, it seems he got into a good school." His mother was a bit disappointed and then sighed when Mrs. Sunja laughed and said, "But what else, ho ho, what about you, what school and department did you get into, handsome boy?" "Faculty of Law at Korean University." Tyson's fatal sentence made her panic. Feeling humiliated, she got angry, "What a brat, just gossiping." She aggressively pointed her finger at Tyson and cursed. "What age did you have to get into the law faculty of a Korean university?" He shyly explained, "You can confirm it online, I'll search for you, please." Mrs. Sunja gritted her teeth in anger but couldn't argue back but only dared to curse under her breath. "So what, you guys can only do so much." Even though Tyson knew what she was thinking, he just smiled confidently. Mrs. Sunja felt so humiliated that she immediately changed the topic of conversation. "But this is a high-end brand, what are you two doing here, are you here to receive a gift certificate?" Tyson cursed silently, "This ad is also I'm so jealous." She thought that Tyson's mother lived in a poor rural area so she said, "You probably didn't bring a gift certificate." Instead of explaining, Tyson took action and directly called the staff over. "Hey, yes, sir, call me," she replied. He said, "Help me choose some outfits that suit my mother, today I only need 5 outfits." The staff agreed and went to get them immediately. That lady sounded like lightning had struck her ears. "What 5 sets?" The shop employee immediately took out the cart. He said, "The price is not a problem, you can choose whichever outfit suits you. In my heart, my mother is always the best, the girl is like meeting a VIP customer," happily replied, "Yes sir." To block that woman's throat, he thought of an idea. He told Mrs. Sanja, "Ah, you also came to buy clothes, right? After all, you are my mother's friend, I'll buy you a set of clothes, Mrs." After hearing this, you were even more shocked. She cursed so loudly that people outside had to pay attention. "I don't care, you think I'm a beggar, I wouldn't wear these cheap things even if they were given to me." After I finished, she cursed at my mother. She pointed directly at Tyson's mother's face and said fiercely, "Next Saturday at 7 o'clock there will be a meeting of friends at the Filton Hotel, you can bring your spouse to attend." She definitely had to go there. Seeing her being so confident, he thought to himself, "It looks like she wants to play to the fullest." He was planning on inviting his mother to the class reunion so he could humiliate her, but "Auntie, my mother doesn't eat well." He looked at her and smiled. Tyson then spoke up and agreed on his mother's behalf, "You don't have to worry. Your mother will definitely attend," but his mother looked at him a little worried. Seeing his mother like that, Tyson immediately winked and said, "Mom, you're going, right?" His mother was a bit confused and replied, "Oh, Mom." Before turning around to leave, she shouted loudly, "I will contact all my classmates. Even if the sky falls, you must come." Tyson secretly despised her. "Stop it, my anger is just right." She didn't realize that she was the one who was shameless, so she left and still cursed, was kicked out of the house and still acted noble, truly shameless. Looking at his aunt leaving with her bodyguard, he silently felt relieved. "Oh my god, look at that fat woman's back, just wait and see, I'll trample you under my feet." In this era, patience is a luxury. Tolerating the enemy is being cruel to yourself, you must pay dearly for what you have done, Tyson silently vowed to himself. After shopping, he took his mother to see the house. It was an apartment with the frontage of the Han River, the broker introduced. "Ma'am, this is an ideal place, this Cheongdamding does not have there are not many places with views overlooking the Han River like this. This place is far from the highway, there is absolutely no need to worry about dust and noise, so it is also an ideal place to enjoy the river breeze on summer days." Listening to the man's very good introduction, the house was also very beautiful but no one lived, so he curiously asked, "So why hasn't it been sold yet?" The man panicked and stammered and said, "Yes, that." He explained that although this apartment was very good, the subprime debt crisis in the US made the real estate situation extremely tense and completely clogged. He turned to ask his mother, "How do you like this place?" She was a bit stunned and then said, "It's a bit small but it's okay." Tyson silently exclaimed, "Oh my god, it's so small, it's 130 square meters." Having said that, He immediately asked about the price. The penthouse is about 4-5 billion, the broker immediately said. Yes, that is the highest price in the Olympos complex. No, it must be said that it is the highest price among the apartments and villas are available in Korea today. He thought to himself, in 2008 that was the highest price. Tyson seemed to be thinking about something and smiled. Friend Lily then looked at the person and asked, "Are you manager John?" "Yes, I am manager Won Shan," the broker replied. He leaned closer to the person's ear and said, "Tell the truth, how much can you reduce?" This made the broker a bit confused. The department head stammered and said, "If according to today's trading conditions, it would be 10%. Just one sentence can reduce 10%, yes, this is the principle by which this world operates." He used that trick again, calmly asking the broker, so if he bought all 3 Royal Dong apartments, how much could he reduce? Tell the truth. The manager was so shocked that his eyes bulged looking at the customer. "VIP right now, yes, can I buy all 3 apartments?" Tyson saw through the current situation and seriously said, "The consequences of the subprime crisis are not yet too severe, the builders should also try to solve it." Department head Jong asked with a happy heart, wondering if the two of you had any conditions. "I will pay 10 billion including all registration fees and taxes, I pay all at once in cash," he said aggressively. The first time he encountered this good thing falling from the sky, Mr. Jong opened his mouth in surprise and said loudly, 10 billion, and even paid in cash in one go. Tyson nodded, "Yes, the rest is up to you, on you." "I know, I will do it right away," Manager Jong quickly agreed and immediately went to work, but at this moment he was a bit surprised to see his mother's calm expression. He thought to himself, "I have spent 10 billion but my mother looked like she didn't care at all. It's not that my mother doesn't care about money, it's just that this atmosphere is so messed up, so you and I seem to think of something to relieve the problem." Then he said, "Mom, let's go shopping. We have to buy more household items." His mother immediately agreed, "Yes, that's right." At this moment he silently confessed to himself that, "Mom, I love you, mother, a lot." The next morning, at Tyson's school, there was a red Porsche with the sound of a potty whirring into the school. Everyone was surprised and talking, "Oh, what is that? That car over there is a Porsche, right?" The girl curiously asked the boy next to her. "Do you know who it is?" "Probably not from my department." As soon as I finished speaking, the Porsche was parked. After parking the car, the person in the car got out. That person is none other than the handsome law student, Jang Tyson. He had just set foot in the school and already grabbed the spotlight, making many of the school's girls flutter and admire each other. He looked so delicious, Mom. Having entered the school he always wanted, he looked around and thought to himself, "This is a Korean university. The most prestigious school in the Republic of Korea is a completely different atmosphere." Tyson went to the law faculty. He calmly walked down the under everyone's admiration. Was he really a new student? Looking at him, he thought he was a sports student. What kind of law student would have such a physique? Hearing everyone's compliments, he felt complacent and thought to himself, "The senior looks so stressed. If a handsome junior like this comes in here, all the female students will probably be devastated. Ah, that kind of pretentiousness is Marin style." Then he took a drink from the vending machine. Just as I bent down to get the can of water, someone from somewhere wondered why the senior was so arrogant. Just enjoy your beautiful face and advantages, what's the importance of the rest? At this moment, he secretly thought of the answer, which was that everyone was going crazy. After saying that, the person asked, "Buy me a can of water." The words made Tyson a bit surprised. After looking at that person, he didn't take any precautions and immediately agreed. It was a girl with outstanding hair and a unique style. He wondered, who is this? He seemed to have downloaded it. Could this outfit be the legendary Big Sister? The senior in the art department? The girl saw that he was stunned and asked again, "Can you help me get it?" Suddenly a girl appeared from behind. She has a very beautiful hand, with long, slender fingers. With a friendly smile, she pointed at the vending machine and said, "This is the only place that sells canned coffee." Jang Tyson heard her voice and turned around in surprise. She stood and looked at him for a while then continued, "Are you a law student? This is the first time I saw you here." Jang Tyson was very surprised because he didn't know who this girl was and why she was talking to him. He replied, "What?" She smiled and continued, "There is no one in this law department as good as you." Jang Tyson shyly replied, "Ah, thank you." She turned her eyes to the group of people in front, then said, "See those weirdos over there, they look like old men and women." Then turned to Jang Tyson and said, "So you look completely different." Jang Tyson laughed hysterically when he heard that, took the can of water and gave it to her and said, "Here's mine." She happily accepted the can of water, then pressed it to her cheek and said, "Wow. It's so warm." That girl continued, "The heater in the art room was as fake as hell. If our industry had to argue with each other, the people who majored in law would probably die." Hearing this, Jang Tyson thought to himself, "She's really a big sister in the art department, already." She continued, this is the most typical type of discrimination. Don't you think? Jang Tyson suddenly whispered, why did you suddenly ask me? Jang Tyson shyly replied, I can only use my warm bag. She laughed and joked, every time I draw I forget it's cold, now my arms are stiff, maybe my body is too big so my heart can't warm it up, oh my god, sister, please answer something related, cupped. Jang Tyson seemed impatient and said, is there anything you want to tell me? Hearing that, she immediately asked, what year are you studying? Jang Tyson showed a bored expression and said, before asking about other people. You have to introduce yourself first, that's the minimum etiquette. She happily replied. I'm Sun Yuri, 6th grade, Western Art Department, and you? Jang Tyson replied coldly, decent, Class 8, Faculty of Law. Sun Yuri was surprised to hear that, quickly asked Class 8, are you a new student? Sun Yuri said nostalgically, wow. Time passes so quickly, just days ago I was still a toddler in school, and now the 8th grade students have already enrolled. Even though I'm in 3rd year, I still have the soul of a little girl, I feel so sad. Jang Tyson thought to himself, she's so strange. Jang Tyson's expression changed when he heard her say that. He said seriously instead of being sad, I think you should be happy because we only have to study for 2 more years, but education is not enough. It can bring more joy and benefits than you think. When Sun Yuri heard that, he felt sick and replied, oh my god, is this junior teaching his senior school ethics? Jang Tyson thought to himself, even though she is a senior, she still speaks moderately to a new student, when am I like that, and I'm even more beautiful than anyone else. Jang Tyson smiled and replied. I'm not moralizing, I just want to change your way of thinking. What I mean is, we should take advantage of the little and precious time at university to create more for ourselves. Precious opportunity in the future, because our time budget is all the same, isn't it? Sun Yuri changed his face and said, although you are a new student, but law students will always be the same, if you haven't gone on a blind date, don't say those words so quickly. He looks okay on the outside, but he talks like an old man. Jang Tyson shyly thought to himself, hey this guy is definitely an old man. Jang Tyson said, you're not stupid, of course you have to talk in a different way when you go on a blind date. Sun Yuri seemed angry when she heard that and replied, what, so you're acting like it's just for me, right? The other group of people also said yes, why are you so discriminating, kid? Jang Tyson calmly said, you said you felt sad, that's why I wanted to advise you. Sun Yuri only heard that and made a noise. Jang Tyson continued, if there's anything wrong, please forgive me. When she heard that, she smiled and replied, okay, it's nice to hear you talk about morality, and moreover, I was also offered coffee. The group of people saw her and started talking, is that Yuri Lipstick, isn't it, the beauty queen of the art school, really? It's her, oh my god, today is so lucky. Jang Tyson and Sun Yuri heard the others talking and just looked at each other silently for a long time. After a while, she smiled and said, I'll just give you this, give me the phone. Sun Yuri held out her hand and said, what's wrong? It's embarrassing to keep reaching out like that. Jang Tyson hesitantly replied, yes, here. She took Jang Tyson's phone and started dialing her number. The other group of people saw this and were very surprised because they did not expect the beauty department beauty to tell Jang Tyson her phone number, something that so many people wish to have. Sun Yuri asked, are you busy today? Jang Tyson was surprised to hear that and couldn't say anything. Sun Yuri smiled brightly and said if you have time, please contact me. Jang Tyson happily replied. I'm free tonight. When the group of people heard that, they were so shocked that their eyes were shaped like A and their mouths were like O and shouted, no way. Scene changed to a lecture hall in a university. Everyone here is sitting very attentively, waiting for the student council president to enter. Jang Tyson dejectedly lay down on the table, pretending to write an essay. Saying, God, what to do in this awkward situation? Suddenly a person wearing very formal clothes walked in and said, nice to meet the 8th grade students here, I am a 3rd year student of the department. That person said loudly, I have just been discharged from the army and I'm taking advantage of my precious time to contribute to the school as the student council president. I hope you will understand if my way of speaking is lacking, squid. We will soon have an orientation session for new students and we hope you can all take the time to attend. Because it is an opportunity where you can meet professors and seniors. Before that, I will form groups to prepare for this orientation. Everyone seemed very focused, paying attention, listening to the student council president say, each group will have 20 members, 200 students will be divided into 10 groups, currently there may be 200 students here, we still don't know each other. But once we form a group, we are groupmates. As he spoke, he raised his hand to announce to all students that today they will meet the seniors in charge of each group and elect the group leader. Group 1 should go up to the podium and the remaining students stay in place. A senior spoke up, raised his hand, and invited the group of 10 together. She continued, let's say hello, if you cooperate well, senior here will treat you to a grand treat. The senior smiled brightly and said warmly, let's gather here. Oh my god, it's good that I'm so honest among you guys. I will try to fulfill my responsibilities well. The orientation session will also have the participation of economics students. Oh, let me remind you first, the professors at the economics school are quite difficult and feel very inferior towards our law faculty. Jiang Taizhen was listening attentively at the moment. She continued, so we have to prepare ourselves and perform well. Jiang Taizhen smiled brightly and asked, sorry, what's your name, senior? She suddenly turned around and replied, your name. She said warmly, I have my name tag here, I'm Kong Aaron from class 6. Faculty of Law, my name sounds boring. After speaking, she happily asked Jiang Taizhen again. What is your name? Kong Aaron almost said, wow, he's so handsome, you could become an idol. When Jiang Taizhen heard his senior praise him like that, he shyly replied, I'm Jiang Taizhen. Hearing that, Kong Aaron suddenly replied, what, Jiang Taizhen, so you're an arrogant kid, she said while lightly punching Jiang Taizhen. Jiang Taizhen heard his senior say that and immediately changed his face. He smiled shyly and said, what do you mean? Kong Aaron happily replied. Being arrogant is just being arrogant, right? Jiang Taizhen thought helplessly, it's only the first day of school and he already has a nickname. Kong Aaron continued, you're the one who said if you don't pass the second time in second year then you'd rather not study at all, right? To impress the professors I also asked for an IQ test. Jiang Taizhen replied loudly, yes that's true, so what? Standing before the shocked eyes of his seniors, Jiang Taizhen thought to himself. It seems like I'm being looked down upon by the seniors here, but so what? Jiang Taizhen smirked, they are nothing compared to me, my assets have reached billions of dollars. When Kong Aaron saw Jiang Taizhen, he opened his eyes wide and asked, are you smiling? Jiang Taizhen now looked down, smiled and thought, I am not an arrogant person, I am Jiang Taizhen, the richest person in the Republic of Korea. At this time outside the car was extremely noisy. One of them spoke up, okay, Group 3 champions, please follow me. The others followed suit. Junior Jiang Hoon was the best, the other man was happy again, ha ha ha, let's drink while starting the talent contest, I know a great place. Everyone said in unison, yes, senior. In the car, Taizhen was chatting on the phone with someone, where should we go? I'll come pick you up, the other person on the other end looked surprised, what, now? Even though she was surprised, she still told me the address. Please come to building number 50 behind the art gallery, I'll be right there. After ending the conversation, Taizhen drove past the group, startling everyone. Some of them exclaimed, what is that? That car is truly obnoxious, hey, isn't he the same person from before, that's right, was still with us? But, that car, isn't it Porch? A moment later. He went to pick up the person who had just called, sitting in the car, the girl wondered. What is it, are new students allowed to drive, and this car, what is it? Is he a rich kid, the seats are also pre-warmed? She looked at him and smiled pleasantly. It seemed quite observant, I wasn't being flirted with by him. Suddenly Taizhen turned around and happily teased her, it's very dangerous, please put on your seatbelt, this made her very shy. Then he asked again, where should we go, do you know any place to have fun? The girl happily gave her opinion, the old woman's sausage shop often cursed. Taizhen immediately agreed, yes, I know. She was surprised and thought, what is it? Does he live in this area, does he know that place? Arriving at the parking lot, Sun Yuri was surprised, he was a really good driver, is this your car? He calmly replied, yes, the answer made Yuri think, after all. How could he live in a family that let him drive a sports car worth hundreds of millions like that? She asked Taizhen, where do you live? He happily replied, I live in this neighborhood. She continued to wonder, it seemed like her parents were quite wealthy. Taizhen is still happy to ask and answer whatever he wants, his father has an apple orchard. Sun Yuri was excited, your apple orchard and farm must be very big, he still naturally replied, well, it's also big in the area, but because they are organic apples, it is difficult to sell them. It seemed like she didn't really believe what he said. Organic apples are hard to sell, but they have porch cars, she asked again, what does your mother do? He laughed, my mother only worked as a housewife and painted. Sun Yuri was surprised. What a housewife? She still didn't seem to believe it and continued to ask, really? So who bought this car for you, isn't this car very expensive? Taizhen is proud. He started his own business. Yuri was startled, thinking, am I starting a business? Arriving at the sausage shop owned by the old woman who cursed, he and she chose a table to sit at and ordered food. At the dining table Taizhen helped her grill food. Suddenly the owner walked up to their table and started talking to Sun Yuri, oh, this cunning female student. She smiled wryly, yes, ma'am. The old woman continued to warmly ask. Is this the first time you brought your boyfriend here? Sun Yuri awkwardly answered her. Not a boyfriend, just a junior. The old lady didn't believe this explanation at all. It's really funny, hey, I know you're flirting with him right now. Everyone here knows what they see, so how dare they lie? Then suddenly she turned around and shouted at the other people who were curiously looking this way, to stop staring like that, these people don't know any manners. But everyone around is admiring the couple Taisen and Sun Yuri. The girls looked at him and thought, he's really handsome. The boys were fascinated by her beauty, she was a model. Then the old woman suddenly saw Taisen holding tongs to cook food and was surprised. Why is he a chef? Why is he so good at stir-frying? This fried rice with pork sausage looks even more delicious than before. But, this is the first time I see you. I don't understand why it looks so familiar. You know me. Taisen smiled. No, I just met you for the first time today. The old woman was surprised. What's wrong? But, the face looks very familiar. Oh, that's right, this old lady must be suffering from forgetfulness. Taisen doesn't understand anything. Wow, what's wrong with this old woman? Then she turned to Sun Yuri. You must definitely catch this guy. She smiled wryly. Yes, the old woman continued, as she saw it. He is a person who lives with a lot of money stacked up like a mountain. Although he is a bit unkempt, the girl caught a bargain. If you have the opportunity, you must grasp it tightly. Know it yet? Yuri could only laugh. Ah, yes. Then she turned to Taisen, and also, remember to come often. Even so, no matter where I bring another girl, I won't say anything. The old lady's words left Taisen speechless. Then he faltered. But, why? She interrupted him. Look at your face. The girls looked at me and were drooling all over. Can't you see the looks of those little girls? Taisen burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, she's really. She continued, but why don't the children drink alcohol if they are healthy? They have to drink alcohol to speed up progress. The old lady's thoughts made both of them confused and shocked. Oh, lady, you are the best. Taisen finally spoke up. Then, give me a beer and soju. The old woman was surprised. Oh, mixed it up. Taisen suddenly remembered. This was a time when few people knew about wine bombs. After the old lady left, Sun Yuri asked Taisen, have you been here before? Taisen countered. No, this is my first time coming to this restaurant. She smiled with an expression of disbelief, looking like he had met her before. And why are you so good at stir-frying pork sausage? You've been here many times, right? Taisen smiled. My hobby is cooking. Sun Yuri burst out laughing. After the alcohol was served, she asked him, soju, beer, but can you drink alcohol? According to the law, you are still a minor. Taisen did not answer her question and moved on to another matter. The old woman's eldest son is currently a prosecutor at the Seoul prosecutor's office. And the second son is a high-ranking police officer, and the youngest daughter is a judge, absolutely will not be caught. Sun Yuri was surprised. No, how do you know? Taisen thought, oh hey, so how does she know me? Then he curled his lips and said, my high school seniors at the law school told me. Sun Yuri was suspicious. That's strange, that was a secret, Taisen thought. What's going on? Who is this art student? She's even more suspicious. The beer was poured into a glass and while it was bubbling, he mixed it with soju. Sun Yuri is confused. Are you mixing them together now? Taisen laughed. He was making wine bombs. When she heard that, she was surprised. She was bombarded with alcohol. Then he picked up the glass to drink in Sun Yuri's surprise. He wiped his lips and smiled at her. Would you like to try a cup? Taisen looked at her and thought, it looks like she would get drunk easily. She hesitantly answered him, try giving me a drink. He acted casually, if you don't like it then you don't need to drink it. This makes Sun Yuri mad. I'm a third-year art student. Drinking alcohol all night long is common. He and she raised their glasses together. Draining the first cup, shallow. Taisen asked her, what do you think? After finishing the glass, Yuri was excited. What is this? Why is it so delicious? The boring taste of beer has all disappeared. Make me another cup. Taisen is worried. If you keep like that, you will get drunk. If soju is mixed like this, the alcohol content will be higher. The girl cried again. What's wrong with you? I'm quite good at drinking wine. Don't worry, let's continue. Taisen looked at her expression and thought to himself, she looked like she was drunk. Suddenly a figure came forward and talked to her. What is this, Sun Yuri? Are you here to drink? Yuri was also surprised. Oh, so it's Eren. The other girl happily continued. This girl, who is this? Taisen was startled. This voice. As soon as she saw his face, Eren blurted out, what, you? Eren said loudly. Yuri, I know him. Sun Yuri was shocked. Oh, that's it. Taisen spoke up to explain. He fell in love with Senior Yuri at first sight, so he invited her to go have a drink with him. This statement startled both girls. Eren was angry. What, Jang Taisen, you are a new student. Are you going to school to fall in love? You already know that you won't succeed. But, you also have ability. Eren suddenly moved closer, making Taisen startled. Eren continued to say, I can guarantee that Yuri was single from the womb. How could you go with him? If I were a man, I would have flirted with Yuri. Yuri next to him was stunned by Eren's words. Is he praising me? Suddenly, she hesitated. What are you talking about? Eren didn't answer her but looked at the food table. That's great. It looks like the food has already been cooked. She turned and said to the people behind her, "You guys, drink here." Those people said in unison, "Yes, senior." Then Erin took her beer and said, "Yuri, I'll drink your beer." Then she drank it all in one gulp to the panic of the other two people. After drinking the entire glass of beer, Erin was delighted. "What is this? How new is this beer brand? Why is the aftertaste so refreshing and sweet?" Erin turned to look at the group of people following her. "Why are you still standing there? You guys should sit down quickly, take the glass," the other boys all hesitantly agreed. She winked at Tyson again. "What kind does Tyson want?" "Soju, beer," he forced a smile. I will get it myself." "Oh my god, Tyson's voice is really cool too," Erin teased him again. One of the boys accompanying her suddenly spoke up. "But, sir, senior," Erin turned her head in wonder, "huh?" The guy looked at Yuri and asked, "Who is she?" Erin smiled. "Who, Yuri, is pretty." The other boy's eyes all glowed looking at her. Erin continued to introduce himself, a third-year student of the Western Arts Department. He was my high school classmate, and our families also knew each other. Son Yuri smiled friendly and spoke up. "Nice to meet you, juniors, I'm Yuri. Let's drink together." Hearing her invitation, we all said in unison, "Yes." Everyone raised their glasses and clinked glasses together. That day, we drank together all night. I work hard and drink alcohol. Along with the scary feeling of having to go through hell the next morning. That whole evening was like a movie playing through Tyson's head. It's so warm, does it smell like blankets? Where is this? It doesn't seem like it's Erin's house." Yuri slowly woke up. Then suddenly she panicked, panting, "Here, where is this?" A thought crossed her mind. It didn't look like a girl's room, maybe. Then she dully lifted the blanket all over her body. Seeing that everything was still normal, she felt relieved. Suddenly a voice from outside made Yuri startled. "If you're awake, come here after taking a shower." Jang Tyson. Yuri turned pale and thought, "What is this?" A moment later she also stood up and walked out of the room. Never mind, let's meet first." The scene outside the ground-level window startled her. "What was that? This is Gangnam." She looked around the house and silently exclaimed, "Wow, the house is so large." Tyson's voice came again, "Go to the dining table." She did as Tyson said, and when she saw the dining table she was surprised. What was it all about? "Oh, fish soup with bean sprouts. Here, he must be the size of a professional chef." He walked out of the kitchen smiling and said, "I prepared it myself." Yuri was surprised. "Yes, you did it all yourself." He smiled brightly. "You should try it. I don't put anything in it." Yuri sat down at the table and picked up chopsticks to start enjoying the food. The smell was very fragrant. Taking a bite, she gave him a thumbs up. It was delicious. After eating for a while, she shyly asked, "But nothing happened last night." "Right, how do we say goodbye to those juniors and my friends?" He smirked. "Don't you remember?" "It happened last night." The answer made Yuri worried. "What's the matter?" He still smiled and said vaguely, "Why are you like that?" His vagueness made her panic even more. "Yes, what?" Then suddenly he smiled brightly and I asked why she treated me like that. Yuri was shocked. What did I do to make you like this?" Then suddenly he said something. "Why do you like me?" Yuri was stunned. How did she like it? He curled his lips. "You clearly said it yesterday. That I fell in love with you at first sight." His words made her scared out of her wits. He smiled cunningly and thought to himself, she must feel like her head is about to explode from hiccups, right, but what to do, it's all bullshit. He still calmly smiled. "I will take responsibility." Yuri panicked even more. What was the responsibility? After that, she felt like she was petrified by the amount of information she received. What the hell? The morning's humorous events passed just like that. The sky outside was bright blue. Tyson looked at the clock and thought, 11 a.m. Korean time, 10 p.m. American time. He said to someone on the phone. "It's probably not time to sleep yet." The other end of the line answered him, "Yes, boss, I'm Robert." I smiled. "Sorry for calling so late, Robert." The other end of the line replied, "You've said too much." He said while surfing the computer, "Please quickly buy this stock for me." Robert on the other end asked again, "What kind of stock is it?" He smiled. "Felton Hotel." Robert was surprised. "What kind of Felton Hotel?" He continued, "The current total starting value is 10 billion. Robert replied, "Yes, I know. The first target in this economic recession is tourism and hotel business. After that, the stock price will continuously decrease. This Saturday is my mother's class reunion at the Felton Hotel." He told Robert again, "Please buy at least 40% for me. Attack both inside and outside the market." The other end of the line wondered, "Do you mean right now?" He calmly replied, "Let's start as soon as the trading session opens tomorrow morning." Robert respectfully replied, "I understand, boss, I will help Mom, there is no son like me in this world." He smiled and continued, "The attack method is very simple, lower the auction price and then start accepting from the bottom up." Having finished speaking, he thought to himself, The plan to revive his mother's confidence is currently underway. He told Robert again that if everything went well for about 3 days, he could buy it for half the current selling price. The bustle of school resounded in everyone's happy day. Jang Tyson held a bouquet of flowers and looked handsome and elegant on his happy day, standing out from the crowd. His father and mother looked at him with proud eyes. His mother said, "Son, thank you very much." Tyson answered with boundless understanding. "Thanks to his parents' teachings, I thank my parents." Then loud, proud voice rang out from the side, "So proud of him, he's the best." Tyson's 2 younger sisters in beautiful dresses, smiling brightly, "Congratulations to you, brother, you look a little cooler today, hee hee." Suddenly his mother saw 2 familiar shadows, still smiling, turned to ask Tyson, "Tyson, is that your friend over there?" Tyson looked at those 2 figures, bored and speechless, thinking, what's wrong with those crazy guys? Dojung and D-sun bowed, but she looked up, smiling and saying loudly, "I say hello to my father-in-law and mother-in-law." He mistakenly said hello to mom. D-sun said, "First son-in-law, hello to mom," and Dojung smiled with his eyes wide open, said, "Second son-in-law, hello mother." Tyson felt annoyed, not knowing what to do with the teasing and thick-facedness of his 2 friends. He gritted his teeth, trembled all over, couldn't even say a word. Grr, these crazy dogs. He suddenly got out of his thoughts when an unknown number called, and on the other side were his 2 younger sisters coming to greet his 2 friends. "Ah, hello guys, oh yeah, hello everyone." A strange number he had never seen before suddenly appeared. He wondered, strange number, who is it? Tyson brought the phone close to his ear to listen with a voice full of gentleness and calmness. "Jang Tae-san, please listen." On the other end of the line, a familiar sweet voice rang out, "Brother," making him realize after only half a second of thinking. "Who is it, Syrian?" It surprised both his younger sisters and his 2 friends, their mouths wide open. The 2 younger sisters wondered which one she was. His 2 younger sisters realized, their faces stiffened, sweat pouring down their cheeks, asking as if they couldn't believe it, "What, Fob Syrian?" Do-young and Tyson knew Syrian from the beginning, but they didn't expect that she was in the Fob group. The 2 of them stood still, unable to think of anything else. "Mr. Tyson, congratulations on the occasion." On the other end of the line, the sweet voice of a group of girls echoed in unison. On this side, Tyson listened and smiled with satisfaction. Behind him was a panic that engulfed the whole person, 2 younger sisters and 2 friends while still thinking about the name Fob. Someone said so on the other end. "Hyun, sincerely sending you a million congratulations for your graduation." Syrian said that she loves you like crazy. Every night she calls your name and hugs her doll tightly to sleep. It made the 4 people on this side extremely scared, as if they couldn't believe what the other end of the line said when Tyson turned on the speakerphone. His mouth couldn't close. Tyson smiled and replied, "Okay, thank you guys so much. Next time I will buy delicious food for you guys, in exchange for crazy happiness." On the other end of the line, "Ah, really, you are the best, hi-he." He seriously asked, "Do you guys know that I'm in Seoul right now? Can I contact this phone number?" The answer was, "No, we can't use the phone yet. Before getting back the investment capital, the director will probably not allow it to be used." Tyson frowned, a sad look shone in his eyes, accompanied by fierceness. He thought, idle life is really real. Try touching the kids. "I won't." How dare he do that? It's a strange thing, so I let him out right away. He replied, "I know, call me when you're free, and we'll see you another day." At the end of the phone call, he continued to ask questions from one of his 2 younger sisters in Decent. "Fob, is that the Fob group you know, that brat, is he still in contact with Syrian until now?" In the joyful atmosphere of the graduation ceremony, there were still calls of laughter and joy resounding. Jang Tyson, this bad guy, this criminal, obediently accept the crime, attack. The scene changes to the Felton Hotel, where the sound of conversation is echoing in the lobby. "How are the preparations going?" The majority shareholder of Felton Hotel Group was changed in just a few days. The employee said to the general manager of Felton Group respectfully, "Mr. General Manager, it's been completed." Originally, the personnel change was very urgent, so the lower-level employees were unaware. The general director of the Felton Hotel Group reminded, "Manager on. Mistakes are not allowed." He thought with a puzzled look on his face, "Even a CEO like me only learned this news the day before. Who exactly is this, who would dare to ask for preferential treatment from the group's president? Adults don't get this either." Then he put that aside, without thinking anymore, told manager on that it was time for that person to arrive. He told the reception staff to welcome him in and received an answer filled with respect. Manager's respect on, "Yes, general manager." Outside the hotel, there are 2 women talking outside. "Hyosuk, are you here?" "Sunja, no, Seo-1." The woman with the purple coat said with an arrogant smile on her lips. She always looked beautiful, making others jealous, while opposite her was the blonde woman with the shirt. She replied with a long coat, "Oh my god, I haven't seen her in a long time and she looks so much more beautiful." The blonde woman asked, where did she get her facial done, and received the answer from the other side, "My husband Yoonja is a cosmetic doctor, he's very talented." "Wow, is that so? Should I try it and see how it goes? He said he would come here today." "So you should ask him to quote the price." Her husband, the blonde woman, asked and received an answer. He said he would come soon. She asked again, wondering if everyone else had arrived yet. The woman with the purple coat gave a deceitful smile. I heard she would be there today. What is she? Who is she? The blonde woman asked. Haven't you heard the rumors? That girl will participate today, the runaway queen. The blonde woman was surprised and asked again to confirm her guess. If it was the runaway queen. Could it be Ju Seol-ran? She asked with a surprised, bewildered face. That's right, naughty, she just tries to come here and see. I will trample her to the point that she can't show her face in this Seoul land anymore. The woman with the purple coat smiled sinisterly, and a little creepy. Then a hotel employee came up and asked two women, Sir? He asked with a shy and reluctant look as if he wanted to chase away customers. Because there are other cars waiting to park, can I please move the cars parked here to another place? The two women were surprised. One said, what are you talking about, another car? The other a bit embarrassed and replied, oh yes, okay. Not knowing which celebrity's car it was. From the opposite side, an extremely luxurious, shiny white car approached, making the two of them bewildered. Bentley. The two people didn't know what else to say. A bit of admiration appeared on their faces, accompanied by a slight concern. There were only a few of that car in the world. Then from the car, landing on the ground was a beautiful, long, slender foot with luxurious clogs. Ju Seol-ran appeared with an arrogant, poised demeanor, with a noble black dress and a small bag showing nobility. She said without seeming surprised at all, were you guys waiting for me? The two women were surprised and couldn't believe it. It was impossible to describe the discomfort on the purple-shirted woman's face from just now. The jealousy was clearly exposed and not hidden. What about Ju Seol-ran? Jang Tae-seon sat in the driver's seat and proudly said, these Andes are already so scared, they're so frustrating. Ju Seol-ran smiled friendly, like an angel, as if asking after a friend she hadn't seen in a long time. Hyo-suk, we haven't seen each other in 20 years. Huh, yeah, it's probably about that. After you disappeared from Seoul we never saw each other again, Hyo-suk emotionally replied with an extremely happy expression. Seol-ran said, with a lost look, life is really impermanent. Hyo-suk replied, that's it, just a few days ago you and I were sweeping the street in front of our school. Hyo-suk continued to say. The soul is still the same as ever, only the age has changed. Jang Tae-seon sat in the shiny Bentley car and heard everything, feeling that aunt was still much better than Aunt Sunja. Sunja was controlled by jealousy, angrily criticized, asked Seol-ran, what is this car? Do you even rent a car just to attend a class reunion? Isn't that unreasonable? She was still nagging her about it. How expensive the rental fee was, when Jang Tae-seon stepped out of the car and attracted the attention of three women. The employee asked Jang Tae-seon with his respectful attitude, asking permission to park my car. Sunja was surprised, her face covered in sweat. She screamed loudly, you are that impolite boy. Jang Tae-seon seemed to introduce himself with disdainful eyes and an arrogant smile, hello Aunt Sunja, we meet again. He adjusted both sides of his vest and confidently said, this is my mother's car, this car she often uses to go to the market in Seoul made Sunja angry. She asked, what are you talking about, this car, how much money does that car cost to go to the market? Jang Tae-seon answered with a tantalizing smile. 300 million is not much, making Sunja gritted her teeth. Her words were interrupted. You. What are you talking about? 300 million, not much. Seol-ran seemed to want to adjust the atmosphere a bit. She said to Tae-seon, this is Jang Hyo-suk, my mother's best friend from school, say hello. He bowed, his face smiling, his left hand around his back, his right hand raised to his chest in greeting. Hello, I am the eldest son of Mrs. Ju Seol-ran, Jang Tae-seon. Hyo-suk happily said, wow, he's so handsome. He can also be an actor at this level. You're a student. Tae-seon replied, yes, I am this year's new student. Hyo-suk continued to ask, what school do you go to? His eyebrows slightly frowned, he smiled confidently, politely answered Hyo-suk, I study law at a Korean university. From the opposite side was the surprised voice of Hyo-suk, faculty, law faculty, Korean university stars. Wow, your studies are also excellent, congratulations Seol-ran, now you don't have to worry anymore. Hyo-suk's kind words continue to make Sunja crazy. Sunja gritted her teeth, trying to squeeze out her story to say not to lose in comparison with Seol-ran, I don't have to work hard anymore, my son treats me very well. Jang Tae-seon stared at her, thinking, that's right, at this subject council, there has to be this scene to be in order, besides showing off her husband, showing off her son, showing off her money, there's nothing else. Sunja couldn't attack Seol-ran, so he angrily turned around and cursed at Tae-seon, you know where this is, don't you dare bring your body here. Tae-seon pretended to be confused and asked back, why can't I come here? Then you got serious. My father was busy going to college to work on the board of directors, so I came to replace him. He started talking nonsense, because our Ju family's lady was so fragile and weak. So different from the body of someone else from the Ju family that made Sunja angry. What, this brat? Hyo-suk wanted to dispel this atmosphere, hey, it's okay if her son comes along, last year Mrs. Sunja also brought her son. Sunja got angry and scolded Hyosuk, telling her to call her Seal1, not Sunja, causing Hyosuk to laugh and apologize. Oh sorry, I forgot. Hyosuk looked at Seolran and then the two of them laughed at Sunja's cursing, obnoxious. Hyosuk smiled brightly and invited Seolran to go to the party together. Seolran, let's go inside. Seolran also smiled in response to that wish, yes. The party venue was luxurious and brilliant. Everything in here is so beautiful and magnificent. Seolran's friends suddenly couldn't believe it when they saw her current appearance. No, you, maybe, say, Seolran, what, who? The surprise burst out loud. The crowd called Seolran's name with bewilderment and the satisfaction of mother and daughter Seolran and Jangtae-san. Everyone gathered to say hello like a crowd gathered around their idols to get an autograph. The sound of greetings filled the entire hall. Seolran, nice to meet you, I'm Young-ho. Yeah, how long has it been, and I'm Hyuchan, it's not like you've forgotten me. Someone said a touching sentence, as if expressing the feelings of everyone here. Seolran, you are still very beautiful. Seolran smiled back and replied, nice to meet everyone, how long has it been? Then a sturdy back suddenly appeared. Speaking in a low and serious voice, please excuse me. Mrs. Ju, it's nice to meet you here, I'm Eric Benson, the head manager of this hotel. Said the man with slick-back blonde hair in the middle, flanked by two equally elegant staff. Seolran asked in surprise, yes, the head manager. Everyone was even more surprised. Was he Seolran's acquaintance? Oh my god, what was going on? Eric Benson continued his introduction with an extremely industrial smile. I was extremely grateful that she had chosen to come to our modest hotel. He was pleased and continued to say, I have prepared a small gift for Mrs. Ju and her friends present here. Seolran seemed doubtful of what she had heard. She asked again, what's the gift? Behind Eric Benson is a line of chefs bringing out trays of food and wine. He opens his confident eyes and says, these are the dishes prepared by the hotel's head chef, Albert Leo, and his staff. Its members make it directly. The crowd had a chance to be noisy again. What, that outfit, the chef, it's actually Chef Albert, oh my god. Eric Benson held a bottle of yellow wine in his hand, with a handkerchief to hold it. As if afraid of getting his expensive jewelry dirty, then he said, this is Saudi Kim wine from 1992. Can I buy this VIP guest a drink? Eric Benson asked and that confused Seolran, she just said yes. The women continued to discuss, Seolran, who exactly is this, did the head manager invite him to drink, do they already know each other, I can't believe it. Then Eric Benson and his two subordinates bowed in half, saying respectfully, if there's anything missing, please let us know, the manager will be waiting right behind. Seeing that, Hyosuk quickly asked, how do you know the head manager? Seolran replied, no. This is also the first time I meet him. Hyosuk denied, lying, how high-class the manager of Felton Hotel is. A woman in there asked, if she was a chief manager, she would definitely have met the presidents of big companies. The crowd continued to cheer. So you have been very successful, how have you been living lately, what has your husband been doing? The garden is just a joke, right? Is he actually a real estate tycoon, or what kind of business is he doing? Suddenly Sunja shouted angrily, as if wanting to let out all the jealousy in her heart, smearing ashes and rice husks on Seolran's family, saying, what business? Maybe that promiscuous father will finally bring the money has already been used, right? Seolran opened his mouth gently, but the atmosphere was not happy at all, so what? Jangtae-san was surprised, he thought, what does that mother's calm voice mean? Sunja seemed to be gaining momentum, she screamed loudly, her saliva flew everywhere. She thought Seolran was weak and didn't dare to fight back, that's right, that's it, stop acting like I'm just because I have a good father. Then Seolran gently said, what a pity. Sunja made Sunja snap back right away, what nonsense are you talking about? Seolran's face darkened, her eyes shone with sadness, wrinkles in her eye bags as if due to the fatigue from the past still surrounding her, she said, ever since I went to school. I know you have always been jealous of me, years past, I believe that after raising children well, he would change. But you, whether then or now, have not changed at all, Seolran said. Looking straight at Sunja with unprecedented coldness. Sunja seemed to be at a loss. Screaming even louder, shut up, you only get a pretty face, a mistress. Jangtae-san couldn't close his mouth, he just witnessed something he had never seen before. Glasses of red wine flew everywhere in everyone's silence. The wine poured all over Sunja and barked at her, making her scream like she was crazy, me, now she looks as ugly as a witch. Holding an empty wineglass in her hand, Seolran said, I don't care if you're jealous of me. But I cannot forgive you for insulting my father and mother. Sunja ran to complain. Crying to her husband, oh my god, I'm so upset, that crazy woman dared to throw wine at me. Meanwhile, Tae-san thought, wow, my mother is the best. Sunja's husband ran to defend his wife. What is that bitch, is she crazy? Next to her was Sunja with a crying face. Cursing and pointing at Seolran, sue her, my husband works at Samu Law Office. Jang Tae-san seemed to think of something. Oh, work at Samu Law Office. Sunja's husband started to raise his voice. Her actions are now a crime of violence. You know, accompanied by Sunja's words, you guys will surely die today. Then Tae-san spoke up behind his mother's back, with a firm and affirming tone to the surprise of the Sunja couple. How could that be a crime of violence? Sunja's husband was angry because someone denied his words. Every vein on his face appeared clearly. He angrily said, "You, who are you? Why is a child like you sticking your nose in?" He started cursing loudly, this time about the hotel service. This hotel is not good. How dare the waiter interfere in the customer's problem? Tae-san seemed to hear something wrong. Waiter, is it me? Seolran reluctantly said, as my son, he received scoldings from that couple. Son, so what? What about son? Tae-san spoke on behalf of his mother. His name is Jang Tae-san. Studying at the law faculty of a Korean university, behind him were the roars of the class meeting crowd. Sunja's husband's name is surprising. What, Korean university? I'll compensate you for the dirty clothes. He closed his eyes and laughed it off. Then he immediately turned around and said slander to the couple, making them vomit blood. They both look like bread, so I'll buy all the bread here for the two of them. What, brat, I'm your senior, Sunja's husband said and received a question instead of Tae-san's answer. So what happened? So Tae-san's husband was pushed forward again. Look, it's true that the family is not educated, the concubine's child, this uneducated woman, her child is like her so she is also uneducated. Seolran pursed her lips angrily, her body trembling when she heard those words. Tae-san suddenly said, it's a crime to defame someone else's honor, and also, I will sue you for defaming my mother's honor. He said that with seriousness and no joking expression on his face, making Sunja's husband surprised. What? His eyes showed anger. He said, his wife, said that my mother was the daughter of a concubine, the child of a promiscuous father, and that the family had no education, and that the mother was also uneducated. He continued to say harsh words that made Sunja's husband feel scared. This insult was unacceptable, even at a class reunion like today. I will sue. When Sunja's husband heard Tae-san's words, he was extremely angry, but because he was unreasonable, he couldn't say anything. You thought, this lawyer, you yourself also see that this is a crime of defamation, right? While making a phone call with a cold expression, Director Joe, I called because I wanted to commission a lawsuit. The couple was a little worried. That kid, what do you think of me? Jang Tae-san still didn't pay attention and continued to call. It was about defamation. He said it was Samu Law Office. The litigant is in front of me. Let me transfer the phone. Tae-san gave the phone to that uncle and said, take it, in return for anger on the other side, you dare to threaten me. Jang Tae-san also didn't know how to answer, he replied casually. I don't know, please take the call first. Sunja's husband had a challenging tone. Do you think I'm scared? He shouted into the phone, hello, I'm Lee Dongkwang from Samu Law Office without knowing who was on the other end of the line. Receiving only silence without saying anything, Lee Dongkwang was angry, hello, say something, say it. Then the other end of the line let out a long stream of words, hey, that bastard Lee Dongkwang, making him jump. Lee Dongkwang put the phone back to his ear and vaguely asked, who are you? He received an answer that made his soul fly out of his body, I am Director Jo Yoontae, that stupid blockhead. Lee Dongkwang stammered in fear and replied, Pant, money, senior. Director Jo Yoontae of Samu Law Office questioned Lee Dongkwang, hey, do you know who you're touching? It's too noisy. Where is that place, you? Lee Dongkwang stood still and listened to his boss's curses. Apologize quickly and go back to the office, you stupid fat pig. Please be sincere, that was the last sentence that Director Jo Yoontae said before hanging up the phone, causing Lee Dongkwang to look at Jang Tae-jin and feel scared, like he saw the butcher of his life. Jang Tae-jin leisurely asked, have you had a good conversation with my lawyer? Suddenly Lee Dongkwang sincerely apologized, bowed deeply and said, I'm sorry, I committed a mortal sin. That made Sunja feel surprised, she could only blur it out, huh? You, what are you doing? Sunja continued to complain about it. She opened her ugly mouth wide and continued to speak, why is it that you have to bow your head? Suddenly, Lee Dongkwang's hand slapped Sunja hard on the side of the face. Causing her tears and snot to mix, her teeth and lips chattering, he shouted loudly and shut up. Everyone in the lobby did not expect what had just happened. Tae-san thought, oh my god. Did he hit his wife in the face? Then Lee Dongkwang pulled Sunja home in front of many people. Behind his back were Tae-jin's words to dispel this awkward atmosphere. Today's meeting seemed too hot. Hyosuk comforted her best friend, Seolran, don't pay attention to them. She continued, even when I looked at them, I still didn't like their faces, it was really refreshing, you're so cool. Then a long line of footsteps approached the party hall. Seolran said in an apologetic tone, everyone, I'm sorry, I just disrupted today's meeting. Then someone said, what's with the atmosphere? Who is that? There, it looks like a band. Jang Tae-san stood silently and smiled amidst countless compliments for the girls. Oh my god, so cute. Then the group FOB put on the introduction music and started performing. Hello, we are the rookie girl group, FOB. I thought this was a special event at the hotel. A class reunion, there's still a long way to go. Seo-ran looks really happy, enthusiastic and passionate when acting, she is truly beautiful. The crowd at the class reunion below whispered, it seemed like I was familiar with that new band or something, I seem to have heard their song. They looked at the FOB group performing above and gave so many compliments, oh their bodies are so beautiful, their dancing is also good. At the end of the performance, Seo-ran and the group posed a very beautiful and cheerful goodbye to greet the audience at the class reunion. The FOB group said in unison, we are FOB, we are adorable babies, of everyone. The girls went into the old wing, waved to the audience, and listened to the compliments. Everyone has worked hard, it looks like they will succeed, so keep fighting. The response was a constant thank you from the members. Suddenly Seo-ran and the members suddenly realized something before their eyes. A tall, thin man with glasses obscuring his eyes appeared right behind the scenes and said, I am in Chang-soo, the hotel manager, we have prepared dinner for everyone. Then I would like to give you instructions, let everyone. The FOB members were surprised, a little joy appeared on the girls' faces. Many questions were asked, yes, dinner, really, why suddenly, no, that, manager what about our reason? And Chang-soo said in a reassuring tone that I have also contacted your manager. The girls in FOB seemed to want to cry, so emotional their voices were trembling. How about inviting us to eat? Wow, this hotel is the best, I'm starving to death. Everyone in the band looked at the rich table of food and gasped, not believing what they saw, oh, meat, beef, steak, lamb, even lamb. I love meat so much, I shed tears, two girls in the band said emotionally. The band manager appeared and said, let's eat, because there is no schedule tomorrow afternoon, so please feel free. So the girls started rushing to that sumptuous banquet table. Someone happily said that it feels like just living today, so happy. Someone continued to say, die, it's so delicious, now even if I die, I won't have any regrets. Then Jang Tae-sun's voice rang out next to the girls' dining table, attracting everyone's attention, Syrian. He happily held a tray of ice cream in both hands and walked behind Syrian. Syrian, eat this ice cream too, then someone shouted, who is that? Some girl said, who are you, next to the surprise of Syrian, Tae-san. Over here, there's a pervert. Tae-sun heard those accusations against him and felt helpless, speechless, grimacing and accepting it all. What, transformation, perversion? But Syrian ran straight to hug Jang Tae-sun like she hadn't seen her for a long time. She cried loudly and buried her face deeply in his arms. The system displays a notification that you have received karma points. Jang Tae-sun hugged Syrian and felt confused, not knowing what else to do, while the other girls were wondering, what are you doing? Someone shouted loudly, unknown, it was our brother. Jang Tae-sun hugged Syrian and gently scolded him, really, why are you crying like that? If other people saw him, they would think he was the ugliest person in the world. Could it be, this guy, who is it, Jang Tae-sun? Everyone seems to have gradually figured out the identity of the person they just scolded as a pervert before. Jang Tae-sun hugged and thought of Syrian's plump body pressed against him, he smiled confusedly, after all, Syrian. When did you get so big? He happily officially introduced himself. Nice to meet everyone, I'm Jang Tae-sun, the food suits everyone's taste. Oh my god, that's your neighbor who is only good at studying, oh so handsome. Kind words continue to pour out for Tae-sun. Syrian heard what he said and was immediately surprised and asked in panic, the food, could it be that all of this was prepared by you? He answered calmly, I just invited you guys to eat. Syrian blankly asked again. Could it be that today's meeting, our entire event? Jang Tae-sun told the truth, yes, this was his mother's class reunion and he was invited to it, and he wanted to keep his promise to buy you food. Syrian couldn't hold back her tears when she heard those words. Laughter rang out, oh my god, what should I do? I already fell in love with Tae-sun, what, I fell in love with him first, he's the best. Syrian wondered again, but, how did you bribe our manager? Our manager is very picky and if he doesn't do well, he will absolutely not ignore things like this. He squinted his eyes, answering as if asking a question, that's what happened. Then Jang Tae-sun kindly and gently told the group of girls, in the future, if you want to eat or rest, just say so. Syrian was surprised, what do you mean, what, are you a shareholder of our company? He smiled and replied, curious, then thought, KNB Entertainment. FOB's management company is a new company, so I invested capital into this company. Thanks to a lawyer, I dropped about 3 billion won here and received 50% of the shares back. When I heard that I would invest 3 billion won, the company approved my request. Jang Tae-sun pretended to laugh and confessed, his mother had some money.
But in exchange for everyone's mild suspicion, what, is it her mother's money?
Syrian was embarrassed, blushing and asked, "How is your life at school? You are a first-year student.
Have you interned anywhere yet?"
He replied, "Internship, I'm almost there."
The shyness and desire were clearly evident in the girl's words, going for a SAP internship. I also want to try it once. Is there any difference between Korean Law University students going for an internship? Jang Tae-sun pondered a bit.
His emerald eyes seemed to be searching for something in his mind. He suddenly asked, wanting to try not to make the girls happy like going to a festival.
Yes, all of us wanna go. Then Tae-sun made a phone call and said, "So wait a minute."
He smiled and said on the other end of the line, "Senior Con, our talent contest. I wonder if you can prepare it yourself." A girl's voice rang out on the other end of the line. "Really, are you strong enough on your own?"
"Yes, anyway, senior, just don't interfere."
He turned his back to answer the phone. His head was full of questions from the girls.
"Our talent contest."
Another girl's voice rang out, "Okay, I only trust you, even if not." She still planned to contact and invite everyone to gather once. Everyone was so excited. Phew. The girls of the FOB group couldn't believe what they just heard. Maybe, it couldn't be. Oh my god, could it be? Someone even shouted loudly, "Ah, that's not it."
On the plane. There were a few low murmurs. "Really cool, that man."
"Is there a number?" "Shut your voice. People will laugh when they hear it." The whispering sound behind the man in the white shirt was elegant. Every line of text messages on my phone popped up. "I'm not going to school, I'm temporarily on a business trip to Hong Kong. Work. What's the matter with me? How can I really open a company? I'm just that old."
Taesun's hand pressed furiously on his phone.
Most CEOs of startups in the world started their businesses when they were the same age as me, which is not very young. Yes, where are we going now? Does it take much time? Expected to arrive today? Go to school? Jung Taesun opened his eyes wide and frowned slightly. The message popped up again. "I'm going to practice on Tuesday. I think I'll go then." What an evil thing. "I'll come home from practice and let's go eat together." Really, I know a place that makes delicious pasta. I know, it's okay to send a text message every once in a while. Then the captain's voice echoed throughout the plane. "We are expected to land in Hong Kong. Please sit in your seat.
Straighten your seat back and fasten your seatbelt." When landing at the airport,
there was a blonde foreign man named Michael waiting there, happily smiling and waving to San. Michael hugged Jung Taesun and laughed, complimenting him that he looked younger,
making Jung Taesun look really confused.
The skies blue and clear, looking so peaceful and soothing.
In a certain building, Jung Taesun's question rang out, "So how is the American political community?"
Michael replied with a cold face, still following Hillary's trend. Jung Taesun, wearing a very elegant suit, sat across from Michael, continuing to ask, not threatened at all, but received a clear and distinct answer from Michael. Can't say no. What? The Democratic Party was destined to collapse, but due to the war, is likely to return to power. Jung Taesun, looking very confident, with a wicked smile on his lips, told Michael to invest money in Hillary's election campaign. After that sentence came Michael's panic. "Oh, what, Hillary?" He looked even more crazy with an expression that looked like an economic assassin. He said, "Let's use as much political funds as possible to invest legally, after the election anyway. In the end, Obama's side still needs candidate Hillary." Michael looked confused and speechless as he continued to listen to Jung Taesun's words. The Democratic Party's congressman did not support Hillary. Even if candidate Obama became president, he would only have half the power. Then Jung Taesun smiled kindly, reducing this atmosphere, explaining that, of course, Obama's side also needed to make concessions.
Michael seemed to understand. "Ah, that's it, I'll do it right away."
He asked again, "How many investment funds have increased currently?" Michael waved his hands and replied, "Currently has established 35 private investment funds and hedge funds." Jung Taesun continued to say his direction, in the first half of the year, increased to 50.
"The number in my name cannot exceed 20, for the rest, I will promote and sign a contract to become a co-investor, create."
Michael looked really scared, as if he couldn't believe what he had just heard from this 18-year-old boy, sweat running down his cheeks.
He replied, "Yes, I understand." Jung Taesun smiled brightly, looked at the sky outside and said, "There is about to be a big storm." He turned to Michael again, looking innocent, and asked, "What happened when I asked for help before?" Michael replied, "Oh here." Michael gave a black card, an unlimited card, looking beautiful and powerful, and placed it on the table for Jung Taesun. He smiled with satisfaction. His face looked so deceitful. He said, "It's been hard work, finally. I can also buy my own plane, among them, buy me a plane for short-distance flights and a few for long-distance flights," he said with a calm but confident expression. Probably he thought carefully. He thought, one of the things Americans are proud of is having self-driving planes. Michael heard that, his face froze, he couldn't think anymore, he could only reply like a robot. "I'm very happy to hear these words, I will go to work right away."
Jiang Taizhen looked so handsome with his green eyes, he smiled and thought.
Now he needs some temporary trowels, but as long as they're not in his name, that's fine.
The two managers of the recently debuted group FOB are sitting together in the room chatting.
Isn't it really cheap to transfer it?
After listening, the younger brother immediately said. Hey, if it's 3 billion, I'll get it, even if the FOB group pops up later. They'll have to spend all the money on event fees in the future to be able to earn 500 million. After hearing his words, the older brother, who was still leisurely cutting his nails,
asked, should we handle it or continue?
The older brother ordered, don't act hastily. First find out if you can receive more and then decide later. If that doesn't work, then. The two of them looked at each other like they were telepathic and exclaimed. Stick to the sponsors and transfer them when the price goes up. Lately I've been finding them in a lot of places. They continued to calculate.
How much would each side get for 300 million?
You're right, that's why I chose to develop a girl group. As long as they get popular, even if they fail, it won't cost any money. The younger sister sitting next to me immediately followed suit, especially Syrian. She must be at least worth billions, he said. If she listens more, she can get even higher. The brother who spoke up to praise you is truly a person with sharp eyes that can see who is making money, so I saved everything to help her develop better before handing it over to someone else, saying, here his eyes sparkled with venom. You're too praising, just wait a little longer. Just raise the price a little more and I'll give it medicine and take pictures like last time. In front of K&B Entertainment Company, who said they would use the children for 3 days starting tomorrow, the man replied, yes, there was contact from the investor side, they said they would pay double the fee. The manager heard him say that and shouted angrily, why does this world have so many idiots? His younger brother also immediately chimed in, that's right.
There must be so many idiots like this for you and me to be happy, right?
Their conversation gradually came to an end.
The person in charge gave the report about K&B Entertainment Company to Dezen.
As soon as he finished reading it, he couldn't control his anger. Why are there such horrible people like this? These artists' managers don't know anything, besides money. The person in charge saw his angry expression and said, the article is very true about the two brothers. Dezen regained his composure and said, what's wrong with both brothers? The person in charge replied, the two cousins are the same, even the older brother, so the younger brother will handle the matter. They seduce children, saying they will raise them to become idols, then turn around after receiving sponsorship fees. Dezen angrily clenched his hands, the tendons on his joints were showing up. Those bastards. The person in charge stood quietly next to him and continued to explain the specific situation. There were rumors that they used drugs to film sex videos and then threaten them. Not only were the victims unable to sue, many had to retire. There are also people who commit suicide. Dezen was stunned when he heard this. They were crazy. I immediately gave an order to clean them all up and stomp on those bastards so they couldn't see the light anymore. The person in charge smiled and said, don't worry, I will definitely make them pee their pants. They thought they could steal 3 billion, but you could tell they were typical stupid money grubbers. I will add more content about the children's affairs and then transfer them to higher authorities for handling. Dezen gritted his teeth and said, just wait, I will destroy everything you have. Early the next morning Dezen showed up in front of KBN Entertainment Company and brought a lot of food. The security guard outside the door of course won't let you in. Oh no, what is this? You're not allowed to come in here like that. Dezen gently replied. These are snacks for the children, the manager angrily shouted, if they eat these things, they will ruin their figure. Dezen smiled brightly at the manager, this is a handmade hamburger fermented from organic vegetables and Korean beef, the manager insisted, even so, because the fans couldn't, you can do that, huh, but. Manager Afab had lost all patience and shouted, who are you? You are not an employee of the company, how can you barge in like that? Dezen said angrily. Don't we all have to eat to live? He looked around carefully, this building had a gloomy feeling. It's like a place where evil things happen. The uncle in front of me also looks like a good person who doesn't fit this place at all. He observed him carefully for a while and then judged that this person gave him a sense of trust and overall seriousness. If the 3 wrinkles in the middle meet a noble person, they will definitely help him have luck. I have to keep him. He spoke up to explain the question just now, I am Syrian's neighbor. The manager's face softened a bit when he heard that, Syrian, are you a law school student? Dezen said, I made an appointment with everyone for 3 days starting today, you know. The manager looked at him and said, oh so you are the owner of a luxury hotel, why do you seem to have so much money? Dezen boastfully said, it was all my own doing. The manager was suspicious, I heard you are a new student. Are you saying that new students can't start a business? The manager is scared by your no I don't mean it like that but hey new student hamburgers don't have my share. Dezen didn't say anything and turned around. Wow he's really an attractive person. As soon as we get closer to the practice room, music and voices start coming out. It's good to have a steady rhythm, focus on feeling the rhythm. Very good. He went closer and opened the door and saw a band practicing dancing. The praise rang out again, very good. He squinted his eyes and stood outside to observe. Does it smell like a girl group? As soon as Dezen entered, Syrian was surprised, it was him. Just as Dezen was about to open his mouth to speak, the hamburger groaned. Where is this again? It's so dark that I can't see anything. The light shines directly on the body of the girl standing on the stage. The girl started dancing. Dezen looked bewildered. Immediately raised his index finger. The second goddess I met after Dejangium. Completely different feeling. If the goddess Dejangium is considered the Korean goddess of courtesy, then, did the girl suddenly say you called me? Dezen thought to himself, she is the goddess of monsters, she is a monster, who are you? The girl came closer and complimented her, oh how cute. She continued gently. Tan San Li Bik K Chui, don't be too arrogant. He gasped in surprise. She put her hands on her hips and said, if you go to Shanghai once, it will be too difficult to return to Minagayat. Mungung Mountain, go there and rest. The name of a woman that I had never thought of in my dreams appeared in my mind. Dezen was so surprised that he was speechless, maybe Jie Jin Ji. Ms. Wang Jin. That person in the Joseon period once melted many men. Huang Jin Ji. That ended the preparations for the 10th talent contest of the law faculty. He smiled brightly and said, then shall we go? Zhang Taizhen was sitting behind the school's balcony when a beautiful girl walked up to him and warmly offered him a can of water. Taizhen received the can and was about to enjoy it when she smiled shyly and said to him, have you prepared everything? Taizhen still sounded like he still didn't understand, turned around and asked. Yes, but what are you preparing? The girl heard this confused, hearing Aaron say that he was preparing for the talent show alone. Taizhen smiled and said, well it's not just me. The scene changes to the Phoenix Boyang Resort. A few friends are chatting about school. Those old guys are really talkative, they're already so busy but they still forced the second year to participate, but really crazy. The old guys in the law department are really capitalists, and in the business department, everyone except the fourth year is required to participate. However, this year's new students have quite a few good ones. When Dong Sung heard it, he also contributed a few words, I've heard those rumors too. If we stay a little longer, maybe we'll meet. The other guy saw that Dong Sung also seemed to be interested in these things, so he also joked, Dong Sung, you just say it, if you can mark a girl then I will let you. Dong Sung sounded ridiculous, haha okay, this is really true, I can do that too. We joked around for a while and then we all entered the hall. Dong Sung heard the MC happily introducing himself and felt bored, saying it had already started. After it's over, let's go drink together, let's drink. What the hell is a talent contest, it's so boring. Inside the hall, the MC is introducing the groups participating in the competition one by one. Now it's the turn of Village 10 to perform. The MC points to the backstage and shouts loudly, so now let's enjoy the performance, the spectacular performance of the perfectly prepared costumes of the group of 10 business majors. Everyone please give a round of applause. The three boys sitting in the audience seemed like they saw someone familiar. Dong Sung, is that her? Dong Sung looked over and still couldn't find out who it was. He asked again, who was it? The guy in the blue shirt turned his head and raised his hands to tease Dong Sung, this is it. Dong Sung looked down and said again, that thing is stuck in the furnace to study. Even so, the law student looks pretty. The rumor that she was abandoned by me has spread everywhere. On stage, two characters are reenacting the sweet love story. Oh Juliet my love, please accept this burning love of mine. The girl looked back at the boy dearly and said with pain, but that's not possible Romeo, our businesses cannot merge together. Although I love you, this love cannot support me. Everyone below was watching the performance and curiously chatting, who is it, she looks so pretty, I heard this is the prettiest one among the new students of the business department, seems to be the daughter of a business owner, some big. Others watched the drama and felt extremely moved, after all, at least friendship should be guaranteed. As for the students in the same course, they happily and proudly shouted, great job, the 8th class of business faculty won the championship. The performance ends and the MC introduces the next performance. Now it's time for the final talent contest for new students of the 8th course of the law school. Please use a round of applause to welcome the group of 10 law students. Suddenly the whole hall went dark. Everyone looked up. Why did the electricity suddenly go out? A few seconds later, the LED light shined in the center of the stage. Girls dressed in sexy clothes revealing their hot bodies appeared. The whole studio saw everyone's faces in surprise and admiration. The Dong Sung group was even more surprised when they saw it. No, that couldn't be why the girl group was here. On stage, the girls happily introduced, hello everyone, we are your cute fob born in winter. Everyone below was admiring this unique performance. This was the talent contest of a group of 10 law faculties. The girls on stage danced and shouted and interacted with the audience. At the climax, a young man with a smooth body revealing his toned chest stepped out to sing. While singing, he danced to the rhythm of the music, looking very professional as if he had a lot of experience dancing. Causing everyone below to look up and admire, not being able to miss a second, their mouths constantly praising, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Who is he? Is he a law student? Is it true that he is a new student?" Dong-sung below saw a figure that looked familiar and was startled. "Oh, that's Oh Man Dong. Oh, that's Oh Man Dong. That's Jang Tae-jin." After finishing the first performance smoothly while everyone applauded, Jang Tae-jin said, "Now let's start having fun together," moving on to the second performance. The performance seemed to be popular with the students at school because it brought out the charm and passion of youth, but it seemed like Professor Jang Myung-ki didn't like it, probably because it was ridiculous and inappropriate. Given his age, after hearing the new student's introduction, there would be a second performance with a dissatisfied look on his face. What else? As for Dong-sung below, he couldn't sit still anymore. He didn't believe why Jang Tae-jin could be here. Jang Tae-jin thought to himself, "June, you are so hot." Then he came closer and hugged June's waist, his face close to her hair, and her mother wanted to dance gently, looking at their coordination with each other so delicately. The girl who liked Jang Tae-jin sitting down below saw this scene and felt angry inside. Her eyes must have had some tears because she looked quite sparkling. She looked and called Jang Tae-jin's name silently, blaming her. Everyone below did not expect that our school would have such a VIP pro group and kept shouting, "So amazing, Jang Tae-jin, Jang Tae-jin." The performance was a success beyond everyone's expectations. They received absolute charm points. The MC came out on stage and kept praising, "It was truly amazing, this performance was even better." Including the performances of Park Jin-young and Ok Tae-hyun. On stage, the FOB band, after finishing the performance, did not forget to send warm greetings and gratitude to the audience. "Thank you everyone for inviting us here today, we are OB's Angels of Love, everyone's love." Professor Jang Myung-ki heard the MC say that and shouted this. "This is cheating, talent contest, why is there another band here? This contest does not count, does not count." Jang Tae-jin looked at Professor Jang Myung-ki as he presented his thoughts. "As far as I know, Professor Jang Myung-ki, this talent contest has no limits. He also said that he can be creative as he pleases, my ability. Isn't that so, the professor?" After hearing the strong arguments of the new student, had to be speechless and only knew how to change his mind so that he could salvage some honor. "That's true, but if you do it this way, it will be very awkward, this is not fair." Jang Tae-jin didn't hesitate at all, just smiled lightly and retorted, "But wasn't the professor also jumping along just now?" Professor Jang Myung-ki heard that this student had said something right to his heart. He seemed to be trembling with fear and stammered out a reply, "No, that's not the case." And everyone below listened to Jang Tae-jin and found it reasonable, so they all cheered in support. "That's right, this performance is really great, don't say two words like that, the group's talent contest, the 10 law faculties are the best." Jang Tae-jin bowed his head and said, "Thank you, sincerely thank everyone, just finished." It was the group of 10 law faculty, Jang Tae-jin and his friends. The scene changes to the art company. After watching the performance, Dong-sung immediately calls his father's department head to ask for information. "Does your father's department head know the FOB girl group?" The manager then asked again, "Do you mean that FOB rookie group?" Dong-sung seemed happy after hearing this, "So you know what, it's easier to talk then. I'm about to call the FOBs over. Hurry up, especially I want to meet that guy named Aseo Ryan as quickly as possible. Okay, let's take a test drive to see how capable the leader of the group is. Jang Tae-san, you're a junior in the law department, right? You're a bastard who doesn't know how high and how thick the earth is. How dare you tease the tiger's mouth like me?" After a successful competition, Jang Tae-jin and his friends enjoyed a drink. Senior Aaron just drank a few glasses and then collapsed, lying down, hugging the basin and babbling, "I think I've fallen for you. How about I'm opening my heart to wait for you." Suddenly, from outside the door, someone was coming in. Tae-san heard someone calling him and turned to look. Turns out it was Yaren Sr. Jang Tae-san saw the person he used to like now appearing here. He couldn't help but be surprised. "Why is the senior here?" Lee Yaren said softly, "A year ago you were also a freshman." Then Lee Yaren turned her eyes to everyone and happily introduced herself. "Nice to meet everyone, I'm Lee Yaren, a second-year student at our school." When everyone heard the introduction that they were second-year students, they happily replied, "Oh hello senior, you are really beautiful, just like an actress." When everyone compliments Lee Yaren, she smiles from ear to ear, "Has is so cute, let's be nice to each other from now on." These juniors, after listening, the juniors all responded in unison, "Yes, Senior Yaren. Everyone, let's have a drink together." Senior Lee Yaren sat down to have fun with everyone. Then try drinking a glass of wine poured by the juniors. "Dae-san, let's drink together." Dae-san was startled after hearing this, as if he wasn't drunk at all, in his mind. He must have been very surprised to see his senior, someone who only cares about studying and grades like Lee Yaren, also know how to drink alcohol. The blue-shirt student next to him saw that his senior seemed to care a lot about Jang Tae-san, so he asked, why is senior so interested in Tae-san? After hearing that, Lee Yaron just smiled and replied, it's nothing.
We're just a junior from the same area.
Then Tae-san turned around and shyly explained. I used to like senior and chased her everywhere. Senior Yaron was my previous unrequited love. This must have been sensational news for everyone, so everyone who heard it was indignant.
What, unrequited love? Oh my god, this is amazing. So it's because of Senior Yaron that you study at a Korean university, Tae-san said again. Senior Yaron is pretty. The long-haired young man thought Tae-san was just joking, so why did he yell so loudly, are you serious? As for Tae-san, he smiled awkwardly, but now it's gone. I told you that there was once an unrequited love. Senior Lee Yaron heard Tae-san say that she used to like her, and suddenly her face stiffened and her eyes widened as she looked at Tae-san. What's wrong? So now you don't like me anymore? Tae-san looked forward with sparkling eyes. I now have someone I like.